Hello, this is Lightman with the next installment of the coroplast page turning project. What I have done is mounted the coroplast sheet in a vertical orientation so gravity doesn't affect the weight of the page. I put a standard servo up here with about 60 ounce-inches of torque through a drive system and a flexible shaft coupler here, very small, that then can turn this. I have an SX processor here that actually is the servo controller that will then take a command from this potentiometer and command the servo accordingly. So I can move the page by just turning the pot. I can go fast, or I can take it really slow, stop, go a little farther, stop, or any speed I want in between. What this demonstrates is that a relatively high-end standard servo motor with some good torque is very capable of moving a coroplast sheet fairly quickly, as well as a lot of individual control. End of test. Here's a close-up of the actual servo mount. The servo is mounted here with 2 screws with a bracket. This flex shaft is just a piece of vinyl tubing that I put in here to just provide any misalignment of the drive shaft and the axle rod. As you can see, I've used a standard horn. It's a round horn with just a couple of screws to hold that wood in place. And what that does is that just translates that motion down through the axle to turn the page. This is the servo controller run by an SX processor that has a little bit of code that takes this pot and reads a voltage between 0 and 5 volts by adjusting the pot position. The A to D converter in the SX processor converts it to pulse width modulation that gets fed out and over to the servo. As a last test, I've angled back the coroplast page mechanism 22 degrees off the vertical. As you can see here, it's tilted back by those 22 degrees, so gravity is starting to pull down a little bit on those coroplast sheets. So at the angle off a vertical of 22 degrees back, I am still able to move the page in complete control with the potentiometer, the servo controller, and that servo. So even though gravity is acting on those 22 degrees of tilt back, the page still does not overcome the torque capability of the servo. End of test.